Okay, been there, done that.
Let's call to order the June 9th meeting of the Stokes County Commissioners, and I will ask Rick Morris to have our prayer.
Let us pray. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings you've given us. We thank you for your grace. We ask that you give us strength, guidance, and wisdom as we conduct the county business tonight. Lead, guide, and direct us as we go forward. In your most gracious name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could I get approval of the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Hang on.
Sorry. There was a couple of small amendments to
Okay.
the agenda. The first one was that Sherry Smith had accidentally gotten mislabeled as an at-large member for the Animal Control Advisory Board. That has been updated. She has now been moved to the Animal Advocacy Organization member. And I believe Linda Hartgrove may wish to switch to an at-large. So there was a minor change there. And then also, I accidentally uploaded the wrong minutes to the public hearing minutes for the consent agenda. That has also been amended, but those were the only changes.
Make a motion to approve the agenda, the revised agenda.
Amendment.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Now we go to public comments. Olivia, we do have.
We do. Each speaker shall be allowed 4 minutes for public comments with the option to yield time to another speaker or add an optional minute depending on the number of speakers that have signed up while abiding by the 30-minute total time limit. All speakers shall maintain good decorum and show respect and good manners. Vulgar language, profanity, inappropriate gestures, insults, personal attacks, accusations, and inflammatory language is prohibited. The chairman of the board shall enforce these rules, and anyone not complying with these rules shall not be allowed to continue. At their discretion, board members may address items from the public comment portion of the meeting during the commissioner comment period. When I call your name, you can step up to the podium here and state your name and address. Angie Gamble.
I'm Angie. I give my time to Candace Lloyd.
Candace Lloyd.
My name is Candace Lloyd, 1108 Steel Meadows Lane in King, North Carolina. I would like to use this time to give some background information concerning the Animal Control Advisory Board for those of you who are not familiar. The troubles with this advisory board began on March 27, 2023, when Mr. Reeves, a public citizen, attended the 2 p.m. Board of County Commissioners meeting. He told the board that the Animal Control Advisory Board should be dissolved and a new one formed because the Animal Control Director did not know who was on the board. Instead of contacting myself, who was the current chair of the advisory board, or speaking to anyone else on the advisory board, the Board of County Commissioners immediately dissolved the board. Applications were opened to form a new advisory board. On May the 8th, 2023, a new advisory board was selected. On this new board, 3 hunters, to include Mr. Reeves, were chosen over several qualified candidates. I emailed each of the commissioners to ask what was the criteria for selecting candidates. I never received a response from any commissioner. Now that this has happened a second time, I still would like to know what criteria will be used to select candidates. And why does a public citizen have the power to recommend removing an entire board? Keep in mind that the original advisory board is the reason that FOSS exists today. Some of their accomplishments have been starting a fundraiser for FOSS, raising funds to put outdoor kennels at the shelter so dogs could have some relief from the terrible conditions inside the shelter, raising funds to place an outdoor cover that is attached to the back of the animal shelter to give the shelter much needed storage space. Apparently these accomplishments meant nothing when it came time to remove 5 of these members with no substantiated reason. So what has warranted this disbanding of this advisory board? The answer is the same reason it has been disbanded again for a second time, and that is to gut the ordinances to accommodate the hunters and Mr. Reeves himself, although he claims otherwise. Weaker ordinances mean less complaints to respond to. A fair and equal solution to selecting a new advisory board would be to have a separate committee to review each application. Applicants should be selected solely on their experience, a legible and complete application, references a resume. Selections should be submitted to the Board of County Commissioners. Past elections and the actions prior to June the 6th are indications that candidates are selected on connections they have and not their credentials. We must have equal representation on this new advisory board. Now I'd like to fast forward to 2025. The Animal Control Advisory Board was declared dysfunctional by Mr. Reeves and another board member. I attended 90% of those meetings and I did not see dysfunction. I saw organizational issues that, given the opportunity, could and should have been corrected. The December 2024 meeting had ordinances brought up. Mr. Reeves had no comment, although it is now obvious that he was secretly working on his ordinances. The key word is his because in the last Board of County Commissioners meeting, he called them his ordinances, not our ordinances. The years I sat on the advisory board, we were never allowed to submit even a small revision without being asked by a commissioner, did the advisory board approve this? The answer was always yes. Somewhere the protocol we have always been required to follow no longer exists. His ordinance should have been immediately sent back to the advisory board on March the 24th for discussion and complete revisions. If this had happened, we would not have had to be here on April 14th, April 28th, May the 12th, May the 27th, and tonight. On June the 6th, I downloaded tonight's agenda and saw that Linda Mabe had already been appointed animal advocate, which has since been amended, I understand. I printed out all of the candidates' applications, and only one application actually had it written for that position, animal advocate. And that belonged to Sherry Smith. I would like to further discuss Mrs. Mabe's application. She does not currently serve on any animal welfare board that performs daily advocacy for animals. The previous animal welfare members were always involved in daily vet care, animal rescue, or animal fostering. Mrs. Mabe also listed no conflicts of interest, although her husband was a recent member of the Animal Control Advisory Board that had no issues with Mr. Reeves' ordinances. In addition, 2 years ago, she made statements to me as an advisory board chair complaining about the ordinances. I told her if she had any complaints that she should attend a meeting and we would discuss them. She never attended. She has made social media posts to spread falsehoods about the shelter, the current ordinances, and people that are actively making a difference in animals' lives on a daily basis. We need people who will educate the public with facts and advocate for the well-being of all animals. Supporting a proposed ordinance for dogs to live at the end of a short chain or a 4x8 kennel 24/7, 365 is not an animal advocate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Burton.
Alright, it's going to be some minor changes to what I was going to say because of the change that was just announced with the applications, but thank you for allowing me these moments to speak. My name is Mary Burton, 235 Winfield Drive in King, and my comments today are also focusing on those applications, particularly two that were originally presented for the, or currently/originally presented for the Animal Advocacy Organization member. I wanted to address a few points regarding these applications, specifically the two which at the time when I downloaded the agenda were being presented for the Animal Advocacy Organization member position, and the apparent discrepancy in how they were originally categorized versus how they are now being presented, and a few application issues I believe should be acknowledged and considered by the county commissioners as they make their selections. Originally, only the application for Ms. Mabe was presented as the Animal Advocacy Organization application. I know that's since been corrected and kind of switched and flip-flopped and everything, but a lot of this still applies. Her application at the time did not indicate that she was applying for the Animal Advocacy Organization member position. Instead, there was a sticky note in someone's handwriting other than her own appended to it, as if someone else made that decision for her. The second application for a Miss Sherry Smith, which was originally posted as part of the at-large member group of applications, and appears to have been the only one added to consideration for the position of the Animal Advocacy group member after several phone calls and emails were made, and then eventually it was declared a mistake and things were corrected and switched around. Despite that, her application was the only one that initially even indicated anywhere on it that they were applying for the Animal Advocacy position. Ms. Mabe's application was minimally filled out with little more than her contact information and an indication to see attached copy, which referred to an incredibly short and poorly written 3-bullet list that was supposed to explain why she is interested in serving on the committee. And this still applies for the position she's applying for as an at-large member. Her application also did not include references or a resume as noted as being preferred documents to be included on the application itself. By comparison, Mrs. Smith's application was fully filled out and included a brief statement explaining why she is interested in serving on the board, an additional page providing 3 references, and a brief summary of her work history, which includes experience as a law enforcement officer, as a surgical technician and hospital manager at a local animal hospital. And it is also my understanding that she presently serves on an animal advocacy board for FOSS. So she's actually a member of an animal advocacy group applying for that position. Addressing potential conflicts of interest, Ms. Mabe's application states NA where applicants are to list any conflicts that would limit their ability to serve on that board. It is always within ethical and potentially civil best practices to ensure that board members that you guys select for these boards do not carry any conflicts of interest that may prevent them from serving impartially or may allow them or others associated with them to unfairly benefit from the decisions made by that board. I have personally interacted with Ms. Mabe on social media multiple times over the past year or so. These interactions have usually stemmed from Facebook posts about animal control, animal shelter, things like that. In one such interaction on August 16th, 2024, she sent me a message stating, "Tommy Reeves is the best thing that happened to the Stokes County shelter," and told me that you and your group need to quit nitpicking of trying to get him in trouble. This message was in response to me having posted some information or reposted a post about a recently failed state inspection that the animal shelter had experienced. On May 28th of this year, we were discussing the proposed revisions that have been a hot topic, in which Reeves is seeking to remove the extreme weather provisions to prevent pet owners from tethering animals in hurricanes, below freezing temperatures, all that stuff. She referenced her and her husband's personal relationship with Reeves and also stated, about the extreme weather, Mary, hunters hunt rabbit and coon. The first coon club was on my farm. That was her response to me asking her, well, why are they trying to remove this part of their ordinance? Her statements both imply that the push to remove the extreme weather provisions is to benefit her own people, Tommy Reeves personally. So I'm going to sum it up. Y'all have the copies of everything there. But in short, really consider how you select not just the animal advocacy member, but also any member of this board. Because as county commissioners selecting these board members, you could be opening up the county to civil liability, ethical liability on down the road if these conflicts of interest, resurface at a later time. Thank you.
Kathleen Edwards.
Kathleen Edwards, 1726 Rogers Road, Mount Airy. I didn't prepare any written remarks today, but I just want to say I work full-time helping other people who can't take care of their animals. I spend my weekends buying flea and tick medicine, delivering dog houses, delivering dog food, and in general, you can categorize the types of people that we help. Most people that we go out, when we get a call, these animals are suffering, they don't have shelter, their ribs are showing, they're desperately in need of a toenail trim. They're 7 years old, they've never had their toenails cut. They can't get out of the wind, they can't get out of the rain, they're shivering. We find 4 groups of people. First group is the mentally ill and the disabled. These are people who can't take care of themselves, and they furthermore, cannot take care of their dogs. They just can't. They're not physically able to get out there, or they are suffering from extreme mental illness like schizophrenia or depression, or they're wheelchair bound, or they're extremely overweight or have had amputations from their bodies. The second group of people we run into when we're called out to help is the desperately, desperately poor. These are poor people who live in Patrick County, Stokes County, Surrey County. These are people who often have no running water. They have to tote water from the creek for their dogs. Some of these people are relieving themselves in the woods, and they live this way. And we help the animals. The third group of people are people engaged in criminal activity. We run into this a lot. People selling drugs, people maintaining a house where people come and do drugs. We often see other types of criminal activity that I won't go into, but I just want you to know these are the types of people that we see and meet when we go out to help dogs who are truly, truly suffering. The fourth group is hunters. When people call us out and say these dogs have not been fed in 3 days, I live beside hunters. I live behind hunters. I've got 3 properties in Stokes. I've got hunters on every side of me. These dogs don't get to run 3 times a week like Tommy told you. They don't. They're lucky if they're off those chains twice a year. And I'm talking about Thanksgiving and New Year's. And that's it. And their owners are drunk the whole time. They don't get off the chain. They don't get any enrichment. They don't get any consortium. They get no stimulation. They are absolutely desperate for attention. So when people like that man at the last meeting get up and tell you that his dogs are chained 24/7 and they've never been abused, you need to understand that chaining a dog 24/7 is abuse. It is the definition of abuse. You need to understand the laws are written to protect the ones without a voice, the dogs who don't have a caregiver, the dogs who don't have fresh water, the dogs who have blue mold growing on their food in the bowl. Those are the dogs who need laws. Not the rich farm owners, not the people who produce food. These mentally ill and disabled people's dogs, these desperately poor people's dogs, these people engaged in criminal activity, and these hunters' dogs. Those are the dogs we need laws for, and we need strong laws, stronger than what has been proposed. We really need to stick with the definitions in the current ordinance that's in force. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Katie Tedder.
Good evening. I'm Katie Tedder, 1282 Coy Hall Road, King, in the Quaker Gap community. My husband, Steve W. Tedder, died February 26th of this year. It was just a little more than 2 years after he recognized something was off with his handwriting and after experiencing dizzy spells. On January 3rd of 2024, we received the diagnosis of the disease caretakers like myself describe as something derived from the pits of hell. It is called progressive supranuclear palsy, PSP for short. 13 months later, he was gone, but I had lost much of him before he had passed. The disease left him with the inability to write, type, read, drive, use his dominant right side, voluntarily open his eyes, walk, and speak. Before he passed, I made him 2 promises. The first one was made after I met with Commissioner Barneycastle. He graciously agreed to be a member of the board of our nonprofit, the Chief Tedder Rescue Foundation. After getting Commissioner Barneycastle's approval, I told Steve about it. That brought him to tears. The foundation has the mission to help give peace of mind to those who cannot speak for themselves, like Steve, who was unable to be understood even by me as his disease progressed, and it is to help give them peace of mind. And their caregivers like myself that know when they wear these devices, help will come from just the push of a button. The foundation, with the help of the Stokes County, with hopeful help from the Stokes County first responders, will be giving residents like Steve, my mom who has advanced frontal temporal lobe dementia, and Donna, Steve's intellectually disabled sister, autistic children and adults with other disabilities, life-saving QR-coded medical identification devices and fall detection devices. In the last week, just in 1 week, I have formed a partnership with a nonprofit company that has been in business for over 48 years that has a wide variety of these devices. They have been expanding their product line. They will be expanding their product line with ideas that I've pitched to them. They will give these devices to my foundation free of charge. All these products have monitoring capabilities. The foundation will pay that fee from donations already received, fundraising activities, hopeful additional community support, and by applying for grants. These devices will be given to those in need in Stokes County free of charge as long as they meet vetted criteria. This partnership is so much more than I had ever envisioned when I first had that meeting with Commissioner Barney Castle. I kindly request space on your agenda in the upcoming month or two to discuss this further. This will be a win-win-win opportunity. A win for our neighbors who will have these life-saving devices, a win for our first responders and EMS who will know what a patient's medical needs are with the simple scan of a QR code, and to the Chief Tedder Rescue Foundation to help fund the monitoring fees for these devices. In addition, this week, I submitted my application to the Stokes County Aging Planning Committee for your approval that may be brought to you later this month. I will respectfully ask for your support of that appointment. And then I'm just going to briefly show you, these are what Steve wore. This is his fall detection device. This is a whistle. And then this is the QR code that when scanned, when Chief Barney Castle was one of his first responders after a fall, this was scanned and it had Steve's insurance information, his contact information, disease information about his disease, and other information. I took that and I was like, why do we need 3 devices? Why can't we just have one? And this company is taking the first step and taking my idea of putting the QR code on a whistle. Because another time first responders came, he had fallen in our barn, and they didn't know where he was. They had gone through my whole house, couldn't find him, but if he had this whistle on him, he could have blown this whistle and they could have found him a little bit sooner. And while I know you can't ask me questions at this time, I will be more than happy to discuss this with you after the meeting or meet with you at your convenience. I'm just going to blow this to show you how loud it can be. They are going to be mass producing this. That company's going to be mass producing this, and then they'll be giving me these to give to residents here in Stokes County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
That's all the public comments.
That's it? All right, now we go to comments from our commissioners.
Sure. Just like to thank everybody for being here and your attendance and participation in this meeting today. I think we have a lot of stuff that is coming up that I'll hold my comments for when it's time, but just thanking you all for being here and for your participation. That's all.
It's great to see everybody this afternoon. Glad the good Lord bless us with another beautiful day and another day of life. Just kind of touch on what Katie just presented. Probably one of the greatest things that I've seen in a long time. When you go to somebody's house and just take that phone and I scan that QR code and it gives me their name, date of birth, doctor, what they diagnosed with, medication, every bit is on there at one time. We don't have to ask a family member nothing. And I think that'll be a great thing for a lot of our elderly people across this county, disabled people, and I just hope it just takes off and goes. Again, Katie, thank you. Wherever you're at, I can't see you.
Rick?
I'd like to welcome everybody and thank everybody for the comments that you provided us tonight. Also, Katie, I'm really interested in what you're doing there too. I'd like to talk to you about it at a later time. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Great.
I want to welcome everybody. It's good to see the room crowded again. It's the kind of way it should be, really, every meeting with the citizens, the residents of Stokes County becoming involved and sharing your opinions and sharing your wisdom with the board. I know with Katie, it's devastating. I'm so sorry, with the loss of your husband, and I know that if anything, there will be good that will come out of it, just from what a couple times I've spoken to you, and then what you're saying up here, and with Commissioner Barney Castle. So sometimes when things go kind of, you question why your loved one was taken the way he was taken away from you, and at least there will be a goodness part of it that will benefit a lot of people. And I know that all definitely support 100%. What you want to do, and just moving forward. Speaking of experience, it won't get easier, but moving forward for the betterment of the community, it'll kind of soothe some of that pain. The people that were up here talking about the advisory board, I hear you. I guess maybe we'll have a few more comments when the discussions come up for the nominations. But trust me, and I can only speak for myself, but I'm going to make sure that there's a well-represented group of people that all have varied opinions. But the one thing that I think that has to be common is that we also listen to one another too. We can't just be talk. It's got to be everyone has to listen too. And on my end, that's my criteria. That all be one of my criteria that I'm going to be evaluating. Thank you. That's all I got.
Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to observe that our first annual resident survey was mailed out from the ETC Institute on May 30th from Kansas. So I expect that they should have been arriving in mailboxes sometime last week. Not everybody will have received that survey because it's intended to be a representative sample. But for folks that are here, for folks that are listening online, if you got it, you have questions about its legitimacy, it is the real deal, and we sure would like to hear what you have to say. Thank you.
Amber, you got anything to say?
No, just welcome everybody, and I appreciate all of your public comments.
Olivia, I'm not going to leave you out.
No comment, thank you.
Welcome everybody. I'm glad y'all made it too. We appreciate y'all's concern about all the issues. Katie, just let me or Amber or Olivia know, and we'll put you on the agenda when you're ready. Be happy. Real quick, as I come up the road coming here, I got hit with the announcement I need to make. July 19th, the seniors can get free over-the-counter drugs and medical supplies at Poplar Springs Church in King from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. I think you got to pre-sign up, is my information, but they're at Want Cove Senior Center tomorrow at 10:30. You can sign up there. And then at Lawsonville, I'm not sure where, they didn't tell me that. Oh, at the old Rueton Club, where the old fire department was. That's June the 18th at 11:30. And if you got any questions, I'm sure our senior centers can ask them. But it's a pretty cool event, and it's paid by federal and state money, and our local pharmacies too are involved. So it's a cool idea to help our elderly. With that said, I will read the conflicts of interest. Before moving any further, does any board member have a conflict with any of the items in the agenda for today, or one that might be perceived as a conflict of interest? No. Do I hear a motion for consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we're going to honor a special Stokes County resident. He used to be a commissioner sitting up here with us. I was trying to figure out who knew him the longest because I didn't feel I could do it justice. And I turned to Sonia the last meeting, and I said, will you do the presentation and recognition of Ronnie Mendenhall? And she said she would be glad to. So I turned it over to Sonia.
Yep, I think I might qualify as the person up here that's probably known you the longest, Ronnie. So here goes. I'm going to read this and then make a few comments of my own. But yeah, me and Ronnie go way back and served together when I was on the Board of Education. He was the superintendent and he was principal. You see some of the pictures here. So we go pretty far back, and it's an honor to get to do this. We are recognizing former County Commissioner Ronnie Mendenhall for his induction into the North Carolina chapter of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. He was formally recognized and inducted on May 18, 2025 at the Hall of Fame banquet event in Chapel Hill. A native of Danbury, North Carolina, Mendenhall began wrestling in 9th grade at South Stokes High School, where he was a two-time sectional champion. In 1974, he was named South Stokes Athlete of the Year and was awarded the Aubrey Lee Brooks Scholarship to attend the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. At UNC, Mendenhall was a member of the wrestling team and earned a bachelor's degree in secondary education. He later earned 2 master's degrees in counseling and administration from North Carolina A&T University. Mendenhall began a 36-year career in education in 1980, serving in multiple roles as a teacher, coach, counselor, administrator, and superintendent. He was a principal for 12 years in Stokes County at Sandy Ridge Elementary, Nancy Reynolds Elementary, and North Stokes High School. He later served 5 years as superintendent of Stokes County Schools, and in 2004 he was named Stokes County Principal of the Year. In 2016, Mendenhall was elected to the Stokes County Board of Commissioners and re-elected in 2020 and served until 2024. In wrestling, Mendenhall coached at Southeastern Middle School from 1983 to 1988, compiling an impressive record of 100 wins, 12 losses. That's pretty impressive. As a wrestling official, he was a respected figure in the North Carolina high school wrestling from 1985 through 2022. Over his 38-year officiating career, he officiated 26 NC High School Athletic Association individual state tournaments and 6 NCHSAA dual team finals and the prestigious Super 32 tournament. He also served for 20 years on the Piedmont Wrestling Officials Association Board of Directors and was a member of the NCHSAA Board of Directors from 2015 to 2016. That's tiring, Ronnie. You need a rest. Mendenhall has received numerous honors for his service to wrestling and education. He was awarded the Dick Knox Distinguished Service Award in 2009 and was named the National Federation of High School Sports North Carolina Wrestling Official of the Year in 2022. Known for his energy, animation, and passion for officiating, I don't know why we don't have a video to show. This would be perfect time for that. Mendenhall's philosophy was fairness and integrity. When I called a match, I wanted the match to be decided by the wrestlers and not me. For this to happen, I had to be in the right position and know the correct application of the rules. His professionalism and commitment made him a respected leader in officiating, an effective mentor to younger officials across the state. In addition to his induction into the North Carolina chapter of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame, Mendenhall has been recognized for his public service, receiving the Cardinal Award from Governor Pat McCrory in 2016 and the Order of the Longleaf Pine from Governor Roy Cooper in 2024. That's one of the highest civilian honors in North Carolina. So that all being said, Ronnie, if you'll come up here, we just want to recognize you, give you a round of applause, and just let me say, we go back a long ways, but one thing that's more important than all of this is what you've meant to the people you coached and the kids that you have taught, and those kids will never forget you, that's for sure. Yeah, we really appreciate your service, and we're trying to get this high school or Stokes County help me out here. Hall of Fame, which I'm sure we'll have you back here for an induction into that when we get that rolling. So that's the next thing we, in conjunction with the Board of Education, we want to work on is a local Hall of Fame, and you'll be one of the first ones we can put in there. So I'm going to let you say a few words if you don't mind, and you can say them there or here. Yeah, sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, go ahead and do your talk and we'll get a picture after.
For everyone that's here tonight, for this award, would you please stand? Thank you. I don't want to call out each and every name. It'll take too long. Appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. As Commissioner Cox said, people that I hope I have affected in my lifetime, it means more to me than any of the awards I've received. In the blue shirt right here, laughing, is Chad Amos. Chad is the head wrestling coach at South Stokes High School. He wrestled for me at Southeastern Middle School. Conference champion 2 years there. He wrestled in the military. Which branch were you in? The Army. He wrestled for the Army. That was his job basically. Wrestling. He went into the Army, wrestled in the Army, and I'm looking at all my friends that came tonight. Thank y'all. I don't want to miss anybody by calling out names. People that I worked with in the school system, people that have got to know through being a commissioner, being a superintendent, people that comes to my house, friendships that I've developed over the years. It'll mean more than you ever know. But I think Commissioner Cox would tell you, my philosophy was students first when I was superintendent. And if I affected students' lives positive, I felt like I'd done my job. That was so important to me. And there's one person here that never wrestled, didn't coach wrestling, but he's in the North Carolina Hall of Fame. Not in wrestling, but he's in the Hall of Fame. That's Coach McKenzie. Coach McKenzie has a special connection because his family and he has seen me officiate. In fact, I think he was at the Western Side Davie County match about 5 years ago, and they were in the semifinal match. winner got to go to the state championship. That was at Western Side. And I will say this. Have any of y'all ever been to a wrestling match? High school wrestling? It can get intense, especially when the winner of that match gets to go to the state championship match. Mac, you want to tell them a little bit about that match? Okay. I'm going to give him just 30 seconds. Real quickly, the gratitude I want to say to Stokes County. I was born in Stokes County. I've been here all my life. And the people in Stokes County that coached me, helped me along the way, I want to say thank you to everybody. My gratitude goes to this county. I've been fortunate to be with some wonderful people in this county that has guided me along the way. I did want to say real quickly, there were 97 people nominated this year to go into the Wrestling Hall of Fame. And what happens is if you're nominated, you have to have 3 people to refer, do references, and what happens is if you are elected to the North Carolina Hall of Fame, you automatically go into the National Hall of Fame. So my name will be placed, it's a blessing, but my name will be placed on the wall in Stillwater, Oklahoma, which is where the National Hall of Fame of Wrestling is. It'll be on the wall under the North Carolina chapter, and it was put up. And these were the 6 guys that were selected this year to go into the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. And you can see me at the bottom. I guess one reason I will say something is all these guys, these top 2 guys at the top here, Mike Carey and Eddie Clark, they coached. One coached at Fred T. Ford High School for 30-some years. Eddie coached at St. Stephen's for 30-some years. John was a booking agent in a wrestling official, and he was a great singer, so he sang the national anthem, the state wrestling tournament. And T.J. Jaworski, man at the bottom down here, he wrestled at UNC Chapel Hill, and he was a three-time national champion. That's big. And Larry, I wanted to mention him real quickly. He and I were close friends. I did 26 individual state tournaments so far. He had done 28. We called 22 together. He was from Raleigh, worked in Wake County, and he passed away a year ago. He was actually calling the tournament, and he started having trouble. And I knew Larry so well, I knew something was wrong. So that night, we had to take him off the mat. We went to the doctor on Tuesday, and he had a brain tumor. And he lived 6 months. But Larry's wife, I'm not sure, yeah. You can see one lady up here at the top. That's Larry's wife. She accepted his at the Friday Center in Chapel Hill when they provided that. That was where it was at. It was on May 18th when we got inducted. And she accepted on behalf of Larry. And he was a very close friend of mine. And I just wanted to make sure that I brought him up. They gave us the poster that I'm going to have framed. I'm going to give it to Frank Duncan. A jacket that says National Hall of Fame, Stillwater, Oklahoma. Lifetime service to wrestling in North Carolina, Ron Mendenhall. And this is one that my wife says I'm going to have the walls full. Relax. This is one I definitely want to make sure that says lifetime service to wrestling, presented to Ron Mendenhall, May 2025 National Wrestling Hall of Fame. We'll make sure I find one place for that. Because I've been blessed by the good Lord to win several awards, but I guess I'll go ahead and say this. I'm the first person from Stokes County that's ever received this award of being in the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. I'm the first and only person. And what I hope will happen is I encourage the sport of wrestling in Stokes County and challenge to have someone else to be the second person behind me. But other honors that I've got, other people have received in Stokes County. But to be the first and only person to be inducted into the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. And I've got to be quiet because I'm getting a little emotional. But to the board, thank you for the recognition.
You're welcome.
Yeah, definitely.
And to all the people out there, thank you for coming.
Yeah, we'll come down there.
Well, we usually.
You just want to stand
Which
up?
can
like
give
you-
us whatever you want us.
Okay, just stand
Don't
right
matter
there.
to me.
We'll get closer in.
There we go.
Yep, there we go.
Y'all want me to go down or?
No, you're good. You can stand tall.
Got it.
Oh,
Thank you
absolutely.
again. We really appreciate it. That's what a great honor.
Take care.
Can I leave these here tonight and I'll come back?
Yes, sir.
Next is our discussion agenda, which brings us to the cell tower rezoning request. And the floor is yours, Eric.
All right, this request comes from the Towers LLC, DSC Stokes LLC, doing business as Vertical Bridge. The rezoning is from RA, which is residential agricultural, and to RA residential agricultural conditional zoning. This case is 24-1062. To rezone a 100 by 100 lot from 16.23 plus or minus acres from residential agricultural to RACZ at USNC 5289 East Pinnacle, listed as Stokes County parcel 599404 539560. This request is to build a 195-foot cellular telecommunications tower. Going to staff comments, I see no problem with this request in that the expansion of the property for a cell tower would be beneficial to the county and emergency services, as well as service for our county citizens, local business, and tourism. This proposal supports the Stokes County 2035 Comprehensive Plan because it addresses the concern for the lack of cell service in Stokes County, as was stated by Stokes County citizens in the Comprehensive Plan. The proposal provides a potential tax base increase due to the expansion of commercial property and appears to be reasonable and in the public interest. This time I'd like to invite, if it please the board, Mr. Weingarten to present some facts about the telecommunications tower.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Ralph Weingarten from Falk and Foster, 1428 Trailside Court Northwest, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Here on behalf of the applicant. I'd also like to thank Mr. Nance and also the county's consultant for guiding us and working with us through this project. I have with me also tonight North Carolina certified appraiser Michael Berkowitz, who did the impact study, if there's any questions about that. Also with me tonight is David Brown, who's Verizon Wireless Associate Director of Network Performance, in case there are any questions about Verizon Wireless service. To document our ordinance compliance, we did submit as part of the record 32-page ordinance compliance statement with exhibits A through V. And in the interest of time, I won't go in depth through that, but I am happy to talk about any piece of that if you've got further questions on that. This site is going to be a 195-foot monopole tower with 4-foot lightning rod. Verizon Wireless is the first tenant on the tower leasing from Vertical Bridge, but it's also designed to host 3 additional future providers on that tower as well. And we find when one of the providers develops their system, that just encourages their competitors to come along and co-locate on there to develop their network as well. Just hit a few brief highlights here. The need here for Verizon Wireless, they've got existing sites along US Highway 52 at Pinnacle and at King to the west and south. They've got a site to the north on Soratown Mountain, and then they've got a site to the southeast near intersection of North Carolina Highway 66 and William Fowler Road. So in between that, the area that they're helping with service with this site includes rural areas along YMCA Camp Road, Fred Merritt Road, Marshall Smith Road, Edwards Farm Road, Gentry Farm Road, and Badgett Road, and then also providing service to a little bit more densely populated area along Chestnut Grove Road, as well as the schools in that area. The improved wireless service is going to benefit citizens, visitors, businesses. It'll support learning at home, working at home. It'll provide emergency information such as Amber Alerts, weather radar, weather alerts, other emergency communications. And then nowadays, most of the 911 calls come from wireless devices as well. So it'll support in cases of accident, health crisis, fire, natural disaster. A couple of the public comments presented today, it's relevant to that too. Whether it's the whistle and the QR code situation, just having good service is going to be part of that interaction as well as checking on the welfare of dogs, put you in different areas of the county where you can use good service as well. In terms of alternatives, there are no other ways of addressing this need. There's no other towers in this coverage gap that's to be filled. We did include as part of our documentation a 2-mile radius FCC antenna structure search, and that one did not disclose any other towers in that area as well. In terms of the compatibility, the site placement on the parcel avoids visual impact. It's got existing wooded area on 3 sides, and then we're screening it with landscaping on the side that faces Marshall Smith Road. In terms of safety, in terms of FAA, we meet their requirement. They've determined there's no hazard to air navigation, and at this height that we proposed, they do not require lighting, so there'll be no flashing light at night. It'll be a completely dark site. Also, we more than meet the required setbacks from property lines and other requirements in the ordinance. As far as the balloon test and public meeting we held, we did have one gentleman turn up at the community meeting and his questions were answered. He was not in opposition. I also got contacts from a couple people who drove by and saw the sign, didn't live within the 1,500-foot notice area, but just had questions, and we filled them in on what was going on, and they did not have any opposition as well. There was no opposition at the planning board, so we feel like I don't think this is going to be a hot button issue in the neighborhood. I think people are hungry for better service in this particular area. So in conclusion, the need has been demonstrated by the Verizon wireless radio frequency engineering plots we presented. There's no alternative to addressing this service gap. This is an appropriate location and design that meets your height requirement. It meets your requirement of design as a monopole. There's no lighting required by the FAA. There's no negative impact on adjacent parcels or uses as supported by the impact study that Mr. Berkowitz did. We agree with the staff report and the consultant report as well, and also agree with the recommended conditions of approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Also, Mr. Berkowitz is here to answer any questions about the impact study, and Mr. Brown is here to answer any questions about Verizon wireless service. So thank you for your time.
You have any questions?
Nope, I support it.
Yeah, me neither. I'm good to go.
I don't have any questions.
When will this project start?
As soon as we get all the approvals and building permit and so on, I think they're ready to move forward with it promptly. So I would say, fall, up by fall maybe.
Did they get the address straightened out on it? I read something about where they had it, the city of King.
Yeah, I just read that.
That's not the city of King.
Oh, wasn't aware of that. Yeah.
That's not the city of King.
Yeah, we'll make sure address. I know King is to the south because we actually had to give them notice as part of the requirements of the site. Yeah.
Well, you said you had one person come speak out about it. What was their concern?
Oh, they just came and wondered what was happening because they saw the sign and wanted to know, how tall it would be and where it would be exactly located.
Okay. The reason I'm asking all these questions, that's in our fire district.
Okay.
So I'm just asking the questions.
Understood. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, with Stanley Smith.
Yep.
Not the Stanley Smith.
Yes, it was. Stanley Smith.
I got one more comment. I was on the planning board before I took this wonderful position on. I've seen a bunch of cell tower documents. This is very well done. It leaves not a lot of questions. So tell your staff they get an A+.
Thank you so much.
Move it to action tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Move it to action tonight. All right, next is the ACAB applications, Olivia.
Advisory Board, as well as passing the bylaws. So we took applications for at-large members as well as the Animal Advocacy Organization member positions. Those were made available on the website from that night, and we accepted them through June 6th. There's also the need for one of the members to be the health director or a designee of the health director. I believe Tammy Martin she was the only person who put in for that particular position. So as far as the at-large member applications, we have Edith Bennett, Karen Condon, Gerald Conrad, Glenn Knox, Linda Hargrove Mabe, Heather Miller, Mark Pendleton, Ellen Perrick, Ken Seaver, and Shannon Shaver. And then for the Animal Advocacy Organization member position, we had Sherry Smith, and then Health Director Tammy Martin. So these would need to be nominated for further consideration, and then the item would get moved to, I believe, action for the next meeting, which is when you guys would actually poll and vote. Obviously, there's only 4 vacancies there, 5 total, but with Tammy taking on that position, there are 4, so that would give y'all time to go through the actual.
What do we do with this closing June 6th? None of y'all have reviewed any of these properties. You have? Well, you get an A and the rest of us get an A.
My understanding is that anyone that would be appointed has to be nominated first. Basically, the nomination is saying that these people are in consideration for the
So we
appointment.
approve the whole 11
You
for
can, yes.
consideration tonight, and
Certainly
then we
can.
vote on it.
Yeah, just a motion
Is
to
everybody
nominate.
cool with that?
So for the next 2 weeks, people can still send in an application.
No.
That's how we do other boards, Amber.
Yeah, that's how it
Is it?
done
I
in
thought,
the past.
well, what was
I
the
mean,
June
typically-
6th date?
We
deadline?
have to advertise it for 2 weeks.
Oh, you ever? Okay.
We have to do that.
All right, I stand corrected.
We just typically don't have
I'll
many
argue with
people
them.
who come back.
It sits for 2 weeks.
Yes,
In
it has
the
to be.
meantime, other people could.
So when is
send
the
something
last?
in.
When can they quit?
Well,
Till-
once
till we
it's
vote on
Friday
it?
before, yeah, the Friday before.
And we'll change the date on the website. Text it.
Okay.
Seems like to me there might be, that there probably should be some criteria to go by to grade these, and just looking at them briefly like I have over the weekend, just, skimming them so far. I mean, I could just put them in a hat and draw them out. I don't know, enough, unless you want to say we're going by areas of the county.
That is part of the criteria.
Is that the only criteria? What's the other criteria?
That's one of them. But
Right, that's his one.
I mean, by that, you're the ones to appoint, so most everyone put in.
If you'd like, we can recommend criteria and bring that back to you, or you guys can think about it and tell us what you want.
I don't really
Criteria
need
you wanna use.
criteria. I can read them and figure out who I want to nominate or who I want to vote on.
Well, that's what I'm
Several
saying.
of them are really good really good packages too.
Right. I was going to ask Jennifer if she had any input in that.
So technically, the criteria according to just the bylaws is the geographic area. Then you all would have discretion on weight and factors. The main thing I would advise is that you use the same factors to evaluate. So if you're going to go, hypothetically, you're going to look at experience, you're going to look at service on a prior board, I think that each application you should probably collectively evaluate them, but that's a recommendation. That's not necessarily, it's not in the bylaws themselves. So.
I'm good.
I don't really really need to collectively evaluate them myself. I think I can evaluate and come up with a list of who I think are the best candidates based on their applications. But
Yeah, well, then,
I'll do whatever the board wants to do.
well, I mean, I'm the same way, and then plus, I mean, we've had, Lord knows how many meetings have we had, and we've had people come up and talk public comments. Well, I can obviously tell people that are well-spoken and put some thought into the matter. Myself, so I don't think there needs to be any kind of set,
I agree.
Whatever y'all think.
I mean, yeah, and one of the things I rate highly with criteria is how much effort they put into their application. You can tell a whole lot by that, sort of like hiring people for other positions as well. So I think based on I've read each one of them, and I think there's plenty of information there for us to individually make a decision on who we want. Then we negotiate that out depending on who wants to.
So what do we need to do? If we're going to keep taking applications, why do we approve anything tonight?
Just nominate.
Just, I mean, that's just
Just nominate the
how
ones
your
we have
process has
received.
been in the past. Yeah, just motion to nominate all applicants.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion to do that.
Rick makes a motion. Hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Board of Health reappointments.
I have one quick question. As the if additional nominations come in, can you guys send them to us as you get them?
100%. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Good point. Now we go to action agenda, Board of Health reappointments.
can we just poll or?
Yeah, we did not receive any additional applications for the Board of Health, but does mean there's still the vacancy left open. But it will stay open until someone applies for it. But that means the other three that continued or expressed their desire to continue serving on the board that were nominated last meeting. If you wish to appoint them, you may. That was, I believe, B. Ross Kaiser, Ashley L. Osteen, and Chad Jarvis.
And Lawson's out, right?
Correct.
Let's just do a poll.
I will go with the slate as presented. Jarvis, Osteen, and what was it?
Kaiser.
Okay. Same.
Kaiser, Osteen, Jarvis.
Kaiser, Osteen, Jarvis.
Geiger, Osteen, and Jarvis.
That brings us to approval of the FY 25-26 budget.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
We've had it presented enough, and we don't need any further presentations.
Well, I just want to make sure Sonya didn't have any.
Okay, will Olivia take us into club session?
We're gonna do the zoning.
Did I miss one?
yes.
Oh, yeah, gosh. Thank you all. Do I hear a motion to approve the cell tower?
We gotta do that motion.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve rezoning request number 24-1062 to rezone a 100-foot by 100-foot footprint from 16.23 plus or minus acres from residential agriculture zoning district to residential agricultural conditional zoning for 195-foot monopole cellular telecommunications tower. This request is reasonable and of public interest because of the potential tax base increase of commercial property. It bridges a gap in cellular service for our citizens and is consistent with the Stokes County 2035 plan.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I say one thing that I forgot during my opening comments? I just wanted to give a shout out to whoever's responsible for the newsletter that we got emailed to us. It's very good. A lot of good information. The county connection. I don't know who put that together.
HR did, but they got the information from the department heads.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's quarterly, I think. Will it be on the website, like if the public wanted to look at it, or is that mostly just for employees?
It's mostly for employees internally. Yeah. It's all about our employees and events and.
It was very good. Thank you.
So now, will you take us into closed session?
The following is the rationale to enter closed session: to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A3.
Make a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I saw you.
Rose's getting up,
It's like, let's go.
You get nervous?
Oh, I just seen that thing sitting there, that's so I hit the wrong button.
I'm glad I can't see it because that would make me nervous too.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.